Virginia Sports Hall of Fame Distinguished Virginian Award is presented to an individual with a sports background who is a distinguished citizen of the Commonwealth based on an outstanding life accomplishment. Each awardee, by personal example, exemplifies the best ideals and purposes of sport, exhibiting superior leadership qualities in education, athletics, business, or in the community. Our next honoree is the recipient of the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame Distinguished Virginian Award. From Richmond, Rick Jeffrey has been an athlete most of his life. At Douglas Freeman and then at Hampden-Sydney, Rick was part of the basketball teams and became a high school coach and official after earning his master's from VCU. But he didn't find his true calling until he joined Special Olympics Virginia, where he spent 36 years serving in a variety of roles, most notably as president for over 2 decades, the longest term in the organization's history. Some of his efforts included the polar plunge in Virginia Beach, the plane pull at Dulles Airport, and the Virginia Law Enforcement Torch Run at the Summer Games. All these events helped support 22,000 athletes across the Commonwealth and expanded the number of offerings and experiences for those with and without intellectual disabilities. Rick has twice served as the chair of the U.S. Special Olympics Committee and left for retirement, making the Virginia sports community far more inclusive than he found it. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the 2024 Distinguished Virginian Award recipient, Mr. Rick Jeffrey.
Let me tell all of you here tonight, when Will called me back in the fall and said, "You're going to be inducted into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame." It was very humbling, because those of you that know me and those of you that know our program in Special Olympics understand that Special Olympics never has been about me. It is about thousands of athletes with intellectual disabilities striving every day to be meaningfully included in their communities, wanting nothing more than to be your coworker, your classmate, your neighbor, or your friend. So let me start by thanking the Hall for including us. It's a great validation for what we have been working on for years at Special Olympics, of making sports an opportunity to make the world more inclusive. I want to start by thanking my family, who's sitting right down here. They're the greatest people I know. And those of you that are involved in sports understand they don't play these events or games or tournaments at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning so you can go home for dinner and be home at night. They play them on the weekends and they play them in the evenings. And it's hours away from your family and time on the road, whether it be around the state or, in our case, around the country, around the world, and many times. And I appreciate the latitude that those folks down there gave me to chase a dream of what we're trying to accomplish at Special Olympics. I also want to thank my friends. There's a bunch of them here tonight. There are people that I went to school with, played ball with, grew up with, lived with at college, neighbors. It's a bunch of guys that I spend probably too much time on the golf course with, sitting right up there. And many of them have been involved in our program. Their kids have been involved in our program. They themselves personally have done things, and that's just really gratifying. I want to thank what I call our Special Olympics Virginia, or SOVA, family. Our athletes, there's 20,000 of them around the state. They're the purest, greatest people you could ever know. And they are who they are and they're fantastic. Their family members, their lives are not like ours. They're 24/7 caregivers. They are everything about their child. The volunteers, and when I say that, I include many of you in this room who are not thinking in terms of that, but you work for colleges and universities or school divisions, you work for corporations, you work for county governments, you work for people who hosted us, who came to our events, who were able to help us, and especially all of the great media people that are here in Central Virginia who gave us a platform on their shows, came out and covered us, and allowed us to get that message out. All of you are part of the SOVA team. To our staff, there's a bunch of our staff team here at Special Olympics Virginia. I was in this thing 36 years, and 22 as CEO. I know all the groups in the country. I know many of the groups in the world. The best team and staff in Special Olympics is here in Virginia. They work hard. They work hard, they're innovative, they're forward-thinking, but the best thing I can say about them is they care. And that's, in our business, that's huge. We have some board members and former board members here tonight. Those of you that have been involved with boards, whether it be in for-profit or nonprofit, we had a board that every day these people would come in or call us up and they would say, "How can we help you?" You have no idea how huge that is to have a board that helps. Because really all we were trying to do is make sure that our athletes were meaningfully included. I've mentioned at the breakfast this morning that Special Olympics is not an event, it's an experience. And then I had one of the guests out at the reception kind of asked me about that. So let me share with you what I'm talking about when I say Special Olympics is an experience. We have a female athlete, lives up in Springfield, Virginia, named Karen Dickerson. She is intellectually disabled and largely nonverbal. When she was in elementary school, they found out, in middle school, they found out gym class just was not doing it for Karen. And they let her go outside and walk on the track. And then after a while, they noticed she's running on the track. And they encouraged her to run track for her middle school. And then she later ran as a distance runner for Edison High School in Springfield. And then one day she decided, she told her parents, "I want to run in a marathon." So she signed up, she ran some 10Ks, she ran a half marathon, and she signed up for the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington. And really the Marine Corps Marathon is probably one of the easiest tracks for marathons in the country. It's largely very flat, but it was a great entry point for Karen, and she ran and she completed that race. And she went home and told her mom and dad, who were federal retirees, "I want to run a marathon in every state in the country." So she started on her way, and her parents have embarked on that journey with her. She's about a third of the way there. But one day, her mom, Ernestine Dickerson, called me up, and she said, "I have great news. Karen has qualified for Boston." And of course, I'm like, wow, this is great. You know, you're going to have a Special Olympic athlete going to run the Boston Marathon. It's the big time, okay? And so the day came, and Ernestine Dickerson called me and said, "I'll keep you informed. Today's the day she's running. I'll let you know how it goes." So I'm waiting around all day, and in the afternoon, Ernie Dickerson calls me, and she says, she did it. She made it. She completed the Boston Marathon in 3 hours and 26 minutes. That's in the top 7% of all the women in the Boston Marathon. So I'm like over the moon here, you know, this is fabulous. She's run Boston. I said, Ernie, she's run Boston in 326. This is great. We'll put information out. We'll put communication out about it. 326, that's 7%. That's just incredible. And Ernie Dickerson says to me, you are so short-sighted and stupid. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she says, what, you don't understand what has happened here. There are 20,000 people in this race. There is no accommodation. Karen, remember, is largely nonverbal here. Karen has to get on the bus at 5 in the morning. She has to ride across town, change buses, ride another bus all the way over, get off, find her way to the changing corral, dump her sweats, make sure she gets to the start line, and run the race with 20,000 other people and all that chaos. And I don't know if she can do that. And she said, we had family members at the 5-mile mark. And when they called us and said, we saw her cross the 5-mile mark, she looked great. She said, I knew we were home free because the girl can run. But the real story here is not 326. The story here is not the top 7%. She said the story here is that for one day, my child was like everyone else. It's huge. I mean, even I got that right. It was great. And so, that's what I mean by an experience. You have to pay attention and be awake so you don't miss the message. Because that day, Karen was a fully included member of the Boston Marathon community. Because all of these guys in our program just want to be meaningfully included in your neighborhood, your school, workplace, community. As one of our athletes, David Egan, likes to say, we do not want to walk as one among you. We want to walk as one of you. It's a huge difference. So, to the hall, I appreciate your including it. To all of you out there, I look at this as a group award that I share with our Sova family. And I give you each a challenge. When you leave here and go back to your neighborhood, your school, your workplace, your community, include more and more and exclude less and less. Thank you.